requires that we have knowledge of the laws of physics and that the regularity in nature maintains, right? If the regularity didn't maintain, we wouldn't be able to explain anything because it wouldn't maintain its identity over time. So if your premise one is a miracle based on your naturalistic view is something that can't be explained definitionally by the laws of physics and the regularity of nature, which is the other way you explain things in reality, right? I'm saying those things themselves can't get explained by those laws. They just exist, right?
Honestly, to be honest with you, Jim Bob, it sounds like a word game to try and convince people that I somehow accept a miracle when I don't.
It's just a logical
miracle in any of this case. We're talking about rising from the dead. We're talking about things
that logical consequence
that we've read in ancient text, and here we are playing this game. Can you define the meaning of truth by the word truth and stuff like that? And I'm going like, I
understand.
I don't see a miracle in any of that, though. I don't understand that. Word truth and stuff like that. And I'm
Hello, Jay.
You got an echo, Dyer.
There he goes.
All right. That's it out.
That's all I really want to run with you, Derek. I know you have to eat, but this is one guest who wanted to come on and ask a couple questions. Jay.
Me? Oh yeah, am I the guest?
Yeah, you're the guest now.
Well, it seems like the argument rests on an assumption of the things that you already know what things are and are not possible. And I mean, maybe it's right the criterion that you've chosen. I think you appeal to things like scientists and stuff like that. But how do you know that you've chosen the right criteria for what is and isn't possible? Like what's the basis for that choice?
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
I would just go with based on my observations and experiences and those of countless other critical scholars who evaluate this literature and recognizing that we're dealing with legendary materials, just like Suetonius discusses the birth of Augustus through Apollo, several divine births in antiquity, but you have the miracle of Jesus' birth, and they look literarily very similar. I mean, very, very close linguistically. In fact, Plutarch talks about the birth of Plato by a virgin, Plato's mother being a virgin, by the pneuma and the dynamos, the power and the spirit. Plutarch's writing somewhat contemporaneous to the gospel literature. We're dealing with legend. And so this is what I would say when I observe that material and I see legendary genre, like a category today, we would fit Batman or Superman or something. In today's fiction, they would do something in antiquity similar to that. So when I look at that in a heuristic way, comparing the literature to other literature, I would across the board say they're all acting and looking, walking like a duck, talking like a duck, and they're a duck. That's why I would say.
By that definition, though, the evolutionary account of the origin of human beings would also be mythological, right?
I think we evolved, but you would disagree with me.
No, but I'm saying by your standard, that would also be mythology, no?
What would?
The evolutionary account of human beings and their arising from the sea. I mean, Anaximander says that, and he gives a kind of a quasi-mythological account. So does that count as mythology that we throw out, or is that a solid theory?
As far as Anaximander?
The evolutionary account that I just outlined. Your criteria would cancel out his origins of human beings as mythology.
Yeah, I would say that creation myths all across the board in antiquity are trying to explain etiologically.
So now, in other words, evolutionary origins fit your standard of mythology that should be tossed out. What about the Big Bang?
Why would they fit that? Where's the ancient textbook describing fossil records and going into the science of these things?
The criteria.
Well, then you would say there's also data, there's also archaeology, there's also
there's several facets
things that map.
I asked for the criteria though about what cancels out myth versus fact.
Well, that's why I said observable. I would look at the observations of what.
Wait a minute, did you observe any of that?
No, and I didn't see Suetonius talk about Augustus's birth. He might be the chosen one, and Jesus is a false prophet. We don't know that.
They're trying to get Derek to say that he's appealing to authority, and the answer is obviously yes, he is.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to appeal.
I didn't ask about an appeal to authority. I'm talking about now. The criteria is observation, empirical observation.
Well, I'm saying you can look at these texts and compare this material and see what. There's several scholars out there that work in this to show we're dealing with literature. We're dealing with literature.
Now, I understand your argument.
Literature.
Common argument. I'm asking an epistemological question, though. This which is not answered by just saying that we look at the literature and the scholars.
Okay. Well, what do you want to know?
So the criteria that you set up, your epistemic criteria, was on what basis? I'm asking on what basis, and you said it's the things that don't appear to be mythological based on various scholars. And then I said, well, by that standard, certain things that you do believe would also be mythology, like the Big Bang would count as that. I'm assuming you believe that. I don't know if you do.
I think it's an outdated model now, but
okay. Well, I mean, whatever origin myth you want doesn't match up to the standard of empirical verification.
Okay.
So you have an arbitrary standard, if you need me to spell it out for you.
Okay. And you don't.
So what's the justification for your?
But you don't. I'm asking you. Do you?
No, I think if I believe in theism and I believe in divine revelation, I have a basis for epistemology and those kinds of standards. So I'm just trying to figure out what yours is.
Right.
Your argument rests on
the physical. It would be based on physical, observable, testable, and even observational things like literature.
But you already said that all of these origin theories that you believe go outside of your empirical evidence.
What do I believe that?
Did you observe the origins of the human?
No. That's where authority comes in, like Neil brought up. That I would rely on scholars and expert scientists.
How do you know you've chosen the right scholars?
How do you know?
Yeah,
you got to do research yourself and investigate it yourself. That's the thing. Like you could not accept
the criteria
it, and
is
therefore
yourself.
we didn't evolve, and therefore there was
the criteria is also
do you understand what an epistemic criteria is?
Jay, when you chose the church to be your guiding truth, you had to at some point decide that for yourself, and you had to make that judgment. The same way
category mistake. You're confusing an existential choice with the criteria. Two different questions.
Well, that's what you just said to him. You said he had to. How does he know that these scientists are right? He really doesn't. He has to kind of appeal to authority. The same way.
But I can make an argument. I'm not just appealing to an authority.
Well, we can all make arguments depending on what we're talking about. At some point, why do you?
So I want to know the good argument to believe your epistemic criteria.
But you're saying you don't appeal to authority, yet what divine
I never
revelation?
said that. I just asked what reasons we should believe your epistemic criteria. I haven't even heard what the criteria is, other than what I chose and what I chose from certain scholars.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know where to cut off the true and the false scholars?
That's a good question. That's why I investigate.
Well, yeah, exactly. I might want to know that if I'm going to.
But instead of swallowing the pill up front, believing in a book that several scholars have shown to be very, very, I say there's a lot of contention, problems, contradictions, errors, issues, very man-made looking, and evolved over time.
Same circular argument that you would use for the church.
Yeah, I would investigate them. I would look all across the board, but instead of swallowing that pill up front, that's what I would do.
Yeah, but I'm pointing out that you already have swallowed your own version of an arbitrary miraculous pill.
So I believe in a miracle. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, you believe in many of them.
Hey, you guys convinced me that miracles are real tonight. I hope the audience is as convinced as I am now.
What you're not understanding is that the argument is pointing out to you that you have an arbitrary standard which allows you to choose what evidences you will and won't accept from the outset.
You know what? I got an arbitrary standard, and you guys don't. How about that?
Correct.
Right. Because you believe in an ancient book.
The way we show that is in this kind of
that is borrowing from other mythology to build its narratives, that is loaded with legend, contradictions, and errors that aren't the case.
That argument, but that argument that you're making is based on the very thing that I asked you to justify. So you keep restating your position without justifying.
I'm not going to do the research for you, brother. I'm not going to do I've done all the actually, I have just watched MythVision for like 10 years and you'll see it all. It's all there. But I'm not going to sit here and go in circles with this, like, I have truth and I have logic and you don't, and I have the actual epistemic proper position.
In other words, you don't want to address the actual philosophical challenges to your system.
I'm not a philosopher. I'm really not. I may play around with philosophy from time to time, but I'm not a philosopher, and I understand that you do that kind of stuff.
So, but if you're going to make arguments, you're in the domain of philosophy, and
that's why I have scholars on my channel, right? That's why I'm not the expert.
You're not going to make the argument now for the audience. You just want people to go to your channel.
And Derek's defense, Derek never really asked to get into the deep philosophical matter behind why he thinks what he thinks. He never really asked that. It just kind of got through upon him.
Well, so there's not good reasons to.
I mean, I like having these type of discussions, but I mean, Derek is not the type of. It seems like you guys are just throwing it on him.
It's a gotcha bullshit.
No, is it fair? Is it fair? Hold on. Is it fair? Is it fair to say if you think you have good arguments against Christianity or any other religion, that would necessarily be tied to some epistemic foundation that could be questioned? Is it valid to question the foundation? Okay, that's all that's happening.
Okay. But you don't want me to do that right
What
now.
I'm saying is it feels like a gotcha thing. And I've watched plenty of online back and forths between Christians and those like myself. And I honestly have a serious distaste for the presup kind of approach of you don't have knowledge.
Well, maybe it's because you don't have
an epistemic foundation.
You don't like it?
But we do. We have it, even though we're looking at an ancient book loaded with legend. And I don't get it.
Okay, so where's precept wrong? Because you have a problem with
that's my point. You're starting with the conclusion that you have the answer, that you're the right one, that you have the epistemic truth, that you're on the right side. So prove that your position's correct to me. Prove that your position's correct to me.
Well, it would help to understand the form of that argument, right?
Well, just prove to me that you have the correct standard, the correct epistemic foundation. Show me how you know that yours is true.
Because of the impossibility of the contrary, because the other worldviews, they mess up at a fundamental level when it comes to the basics of a worldview, epistemology, metaphysics.
How do you know that? How do you know that they've messed up?
Because you can demonstrate it. Like, as I'm arguing with you, when you don't give an account for your arbitrary starting point, we already know that.
So give me your starting point. I've asked you for that evidence, not.
Right. I'm a holist, an epistemic holist, which means that I believe in an entire paradigm. There's no starting point that's neutral or arbitrary. It's the entire Christian worldview compared to the Gnostic worldview, the atheist worldview, the humanist worldview. Those worldviews can't give an account for the basic principles in metaphysics and epistemology and ethics. Our worldview can give an account for how those things exist, and so therefore ours is the true one.
So we would disagree right there. I mean, obviously, all of these worldviews give you those exact epistemic solutions to the problems of the world, morality, foundation, creation.
No, they don't. No, they don't. For example,
yes, they do. Mesopotamian's creation mythology is literally being lifted.
You don't even understand what this argument is arguing. I'm not saying do they have a story. I'm talking about epistemic justification in a philosophical sense. It's a very specific claim.
Genesis 1 has a philosophical statement in it about God.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to them because
they don't even know what we're talking about. It's not just does it have a claim. It's a very specific type of argument in terms of logic. This is about logical justification.
Oh God, this sounds like Darth Dawkins shit, man. I'm not even kidding you. This sounds literally like.
It doesn't matter who it sounds like. I mean, do you have? Are you going to respond to the argument?
Stuff, though, Jay. This is. It's the same old thing, man.
So you don't have an answer to it.
No, I damn sure don't. Because I'm not getting lost in the soup.
What Derek's saying is this is philosophical boxing.
So hold on. So an actual argument, which is a valid form. You're calling
it in, man. You win, Jay.
What Derek's saying is this is philosophical boxing. Derek doesn't do the training. You guys do. He doesn't really care. He's not interested in then if he's
not interested in the domain of logic, then he shouldn't try to debate these topics.
He wasn't trying to
debating. You're the one coming in here debating with me.
I thought it was a debate. I just hopped on because I thought it was a debate.
We're talking.
Hang on. To be fair, it turned into a debate. Let's not kid ourselves.
It kind of did, but you know what?
Let's not kid ourselves.
We permitted the debate aspect of this conversation for sure. It's just not formal and it's not guided or anything. But Jay is. It's totally valid, and I would take the same approach to as soon as someone's making a claim about their view or what's possible, what's not possible regarding any religion, any faith, any legend, any myth. It's not like you saying, "Oh, you're presupping me." You're presupping also. Everybody's presupping. So if everybody's presupping
that they're all man-made, yes, I agree.
I'm presupping that they all aren't.
Claim is man-made. If they're all man-made, then what you just said is also man-made, and then
exactly
also
it is.
Out.
Jay, amen to that. Hallelujah.
Then
so there's no truth.
Then it's a contradiction.
Right. So there's no truth.
So you would be a relativist.
Are we Pontius Pilate asking Jesus what truth is? Are we saying I'm thinking what the most factual thing is based on observations?
If all worldviews are man-made, is that also man-made?
I agree.
That would be a contradiction.
I think humans have constructed these worldviews since the beginning of time. Before your
you're
Bible
making
was
a universal
written,
claim that's relativistic.
humans have constructed.
So he doesn't even care.
He doesn't care.
Do you see that that's a contradiction? You think it's okay to contradict?
Because you're doing a construct too, right? So
Dude,
based on hold on, Derek, Derek,
on
you
a
gotta
serious
understand
note,
this.
Neil, I knew this was probably where this shit was going to go before we jumped in
I didn't
here.
think it was going to do that.
And
This is not planned.
You don't want to be questioned at a fundamental level.
This is
you
not
can question
planned,
Christianity.
Hey, do you even know, Derek?
Question.
God, this is how you introduce yourself to people. God
it's
damn,
fine.
dude.
So now it's ad hominem. Now it's all
No,
you're a bad person. You're
look,
an idiot.
I'm just
I
saying.
was invited to hop on here and debate.
You jumped in here all fiery. We were just having a chill conversation.
Okay, yeah, so I'm a bad person. So this
You're
is
not a bad person, Jay. You're just a guy who's convinced of Christianity. And I was convinced of it for a long time, and I was a precept, and I started to become an evidentialist.
That's not a good argument.
I went down the whole Calvinist route. It isn't an argument. It isn't. I have no interest in engaging you back and forth on epistemic value when you haven't proven your worldview to begin with. You haven't even established that yours is true to begin with. All you've done is made statements that mine can somehow tell you the origins of the world and can tell you everything.
Giving an account
none of the other worldviews
for your
can.
Basic starting point. That's it.
Well, you said yours can answer all of these
we don't have a
questions,
basis to believe it.
and none of the others can.
All right. Hang on. Guys, all of you, hang on. Just a second. Listen, Derek, I made sure that there was always supposed to be a fifth on this panel, by the way, and I'm glad that Dyer did hop on. The thing is that you haven't been dogpiled and made sure that nobody did dogpile you. But you've been kind of at the forefront, really hitting as hard as you could. And you've gotten actually the most. Hang on. You've actually gotten the most amount of speaking time, which is fair, right?
You guys asked me all the questions.
And I think that's, again, what did I say? It's fair, right? So backing up, let's just kind of back up here between you and Jay, right? Just kind of lay out what your position is. And we could back up a little bit. It doesn't have to be so heated. Just kind of back up a little bit. Yeah, give kind of your overall position.
You guys know my position.
Well,
everybody on this panel knows.
I just want to make sure we got a good restatement.
I can tell you what's going to happen. Derek's going to give his position, and Jay's going to philosophically come out and say, "How do you know what you know? You don't know what you know. How can I believe you?"
And then I'll ask him back. Prove that your position. Prove your position.
I gave a transcendental argument.
Mine can answer this, and somehow it does. The other ones can't. That doesn't prove
your transcendental argument. Do you want to address that, or just keep talking past it?
Derek,
tell me why transcendental arguments are wrong.
What do you want me to say?
Let me ask you.
Wrong?
Let me ask.
I gave an actual argument. Tell me why those arguments.
What was the argument? That yours is true and everyone else is wrong.
The transcendental argument.
Do what?
Exactly.
The transcendental argument. Let me ask you.
I gave that argument.
Let's do it this way. Derek, are there any, from your view, right? Are there any necessary preconditions for anything you're talking about to be true? Anything.
What do you mean?
Is there anything that's necessary before you come to truth in evaluation of claims, historical claims, logical claims, philosophical claims?
History is probabilistic. Like they're trying to reconstruct things through literature. That's the best. And then we have archaeology that we're trying to interpret.
You don't think probabilities relies on things like math?
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So if your argument relies on math, then you need to give an account for math.
Right.
Oh my God.
Can you?
Therefore, Yahweh. I mean, you got me.
I
seriously don't get how math. I've heard this argument before from those who think that somehow the fact that math exists.
So you don't have an account for it.
Therefore,
deflect.
These kind of arguments and stuff. So I've heard that, and I'm like,
no. How about just math? How about just math exist? Right? We don't skip to the God part. You don't need to do that. We're asking you from your view. How does your naturalistic view account for something like math or logic, which you appeal to? Right? That's a fair question. Stop pretending like it's not fair.
It's an observation of humans that we have come up with systems we call mathematics, and they're observable from the universe that we have seen in nature, and that we've come up with systems in which we're able to calculate and test, observe, and that's where math I think comes out of. I personally don't think math. The idea of math as a construct is something that happens before humans come on the scene and start systematizing what they're
about logic.
Make them otherwise.
What about logic?
So you think we could make them otherwise if they're human constructs? I could make 2 + 2 be 5 if we all agreed.
No, I'm saying they observe it.
Well, you said they're human constructs.
They have 2 pine cones, right?
No, they're not constructs.
We've came up with the idea that
We
2
came
plus
up.
2, because there's 2 pine cones. Are you interrupting me the whole time, bro? Like, I can't even fucking talk, dude.
You're not answering. You're not understanding.
You're asking me, and I'm trying to explain to you my position.
Your answer
every
isn't an
single
answer.
word I hear your mouth, and I'm like,
all right. Well, hang on, Jay. Let him give his.
Let him account.
A construct, and then you said it's objective. Those two things.
He did say it's a construct. So
okay, well,
I want to verify.
No, I don't know philosophy very well. So
Derek,
we'll make it terminology.
We'll make it simple. Math is a derivative of logic, right? So we're asking you, if you said math in its language is a construct, right? If it's derived from logic, are you saying that logic is a construct of the human mind?
Is logic
the laws of thought, the 3 classical laws, are they constructs?
Dude, I don't even know the 3 classical laws.
Okay, so the law of identity, right, is that verified in nature with empiricism?
I don't know.
Do you agree that it exists?
I've never delved into philosophy.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to be defensive. This is like
but like you guys are asking tons of questions I don't know the answer to, but you're making it sound like a gotcha, and I'm like, I don't.
Does the law of identity exist?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I'm saying
so if you're going to make arguments against Christianity, you might want to know.
You guys are coming at it from philosophy, right? And I'm saying there's a handful of other philosophers that I could pull in from a skeptical point of view, who would say everything you're saying
that's a fallacy.
Doesn't add up. I'm not saying it is. I'm telling you what I could do.
He's just saying He's just saying he's not a philosopher.
I'm saying, dude, if you engaged me textually, you would be stomped on just like you're doing to me right now with precept stuff. Okay, there is no comparison when it comes to biblical material on what I've seen from you, Jay. But you can get me on the philosophy stuff. That's all cool. But when we're talking textual, we're talking biblical stuff, we're talking about mythology, legends, and such, and understanding these ancient sources, the evolution of this material and things, you're out of your field.
Derek, hold on.
You got me on philosophy. I admit, I have no clue.
Derek, one question.
Doesn't mean anything to me.
Is your analysis of all of the texts in the scripture, does that require a philosophy?
I imagine we all have some form of philosophy.
Great. So what Jay's asking, and maybe he's not doing in the language that you prefer or that you're aware of, right? So you're getting like kind of like heated about it. All he's asking is,
it's repetitive, guys. We're
competing for worldviews right now. So if you have a worldview that says I can go back and through history using a philosophy, you admit you have a philosophy that informs how you do empiricism, historicity, looking back, which authorities to listen to, which one not to listen to. I'm telling you that that activity is informed by a philosophy that precedes the activity, right?
Right. And so I think you and me would have a common ground.
Okay.
When it comes to observable, normal, everyday things, right? You and me would share that. You might go beyond me and say, hey, there's metaphysical, there's spiritual, there's miraculous and things like that. We would step hand in hand if we were doing some detective case and going to observe a murder or anything else. You and me would be probably on the same page. I imagine you wouldn't go to the palm reader or to the ghost whisperer to find out who killed Sally Sue over here in this room. We would both use the same tools, the same observations in the natural world to come to those conclusions. I'm saying I restricted my observations at that. And what happens when I see miraculous stuff appear in antiquity? Yes, I cannot prove it did not happen. Just like I say, I cannot prove Asclepius did not heal the blind or raise the dead or Heracles or any other god as well. The point I'm getting at is what's most likely on my observations based on the tools that I'm using, which you would walk hand in hand with me on most cases, is that I'm looking at this other material and saying, Asclepius, legend, myth. Isis, legend, myth. Mesopotamian, legend and myth. And I see the same characteristics happen with the Caesars, historical people that are being legendized, fictionalized.
I understand.
Same thing with
that's a lot. That's enough. Now, what Jay is saying is that everything you just said, by your own standard, is a myth. Do you agree with that?
I mean, that's the argument.
A myth is a story or a narrative or
about something, right?
And that's what you told, a story.
So based on your view, the claim XYZ is a myth based on your own standards of the absence of empiricism, absence of observation, is that your account of the myths meets the criteria of myth, correct?
I guess. I mean, you guys are defining myth in a strange way.
You defined it.
No, we're defining it by your criteria.
Okay. I guess if that's what you guys want it to mean, I mean, I define myth as a story and something in antiquity that is fictional, that is telling a fictional story, has no basis in actually what happened. That's what I would say is myth. It's a legend. It's a story to embellish or enhance.
Your own position fits under that.
Oh, that's your observation of my position.
That's the argument you just
made.
And
I would say yours is
Derek,
no.
You didn't actually ask Derek what he thought about evolution. You just brought up evolution.
No, I don't. We don't even have to talk about that. The very thing that he just said, that all worldviews are constructs, applies to his worldview.
Yep, and
so
that means in
cancels 30 out his argument.
That means in 1,000 years. That means in 1,000 years, Derek MythVision, right? The channel will be appropriately named. In 1,000 years, people look back and they'll go, "Oh, this guy's account of history," right? And there'll be all this.
I'm a prophet. I'm going to tell you what's really going to happen. You're going to be shocked. By the end of this year, I'll have 500,000 subscribers. There's going to be a serious online movement of people moving toward and gearing toward what I'm actually showing on this channel. Less and less people, I imagine, are going to go toward that more fundamentalist approach and saying that this is the one true religion. They're going to find ways to somehow rationalize, maybe even blend their beliefs to some seculars we talked about earlier, Andrew. But MythVision is going to make a serious dent. It's already been doing so, and I'm predicting 500,000 subs by the end of this year.
Of people who you can't ask their foundational epistemic
just don't
system,
ask
right? Well, I don't know if you want those people, but I'm happy you're making a living, Derek. I actually don't, I wish you the best, and you're actually welcome anytime. I know we kept you a little longer this time, but I do plan on doing these panels. I'm okay with them being contentious. I'm okay with them going 3 hours. We're hitting 4 now. I apologize.
Not okay with Neil not participating at all, though. Neil, you want to have a conversation, Neil?
Jump in when I could. I tried.
And to be fair, Jay didn't actually know the context he was going into. He just got thrown in. So
that's why I was trying to pull the brakes on him. Like, hey, chill. It's not that big of a deal. I wasn't Jay, I wasn't saying you're bad.
Jay watched a little before and saw us getting hyped. Was like, "You're not having all the fun without me."
It's still permissible though, and I think it does matter.
I mean, so you can't even blame him, right? No, I mean, it was more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. Let's face it.
True.
Yeah.
And
when you have your hair all bound back like that, you know what I mean, like Dyer does. If you get a couple screws loose.
Plato
he's close. You're close, Jay.
I see Plato behind him too.
Well, no, I think all those questions are actually valid. Yes, they're different ways of asking questions. I think there are actually more important questions, what Jay's asking, but we're not used to those questions. We go into historicity, we just grant ourselves some access to the past, and we try to shuffle around what we think is true and not. I think it's totally fair, and under another circumstance, Derek, I actually invite you to actually try to engage with it, because every time this happens, our experience, right, the pre-sup clan of you guys is you just say, "Oh, you're pre-supping me." I mean, that's not. You gotta understand from both views that from our view, I agree.
It's not an answer, and that is a cop out for me as someone who doesn't engage with pre-sup stuff on that basis, because I don't think there's any way to ever convince someone who's in that, who's actually persuaded by their.
Can I ask you for a favor? When we have one of these panels again, would you mind? Because I understand if you don't have like a good philosophical background to this or that, you know what I mean? I do use a lot of intuitive argumentation myself, but these scholars that you do know, would you be willing to bring them on with you, and then we can continue with this, and we can have a guy like Dyer on here. We can all have this discussion.
So what I would like to do when it comes to philosophy, I don't know, Dyer, have you ever engaged with? Is you'd rather Dyer engage specifically?
Well, no, all of us can engage.
Well, I'm saying I'm trying to have like literally not get distracted by any possible other stuff, and Dyer can engage and discuss his worldview, and then I'll have another guest come on, maybe like Stephen Woodford, or I can get Graham Oppie maybe. If
you can get Stephen Woodford, that's good.
Yeah, I'm buds with Stephen. And reason I brought up that I have friends that I could call in.
You don't have friends. Stop lying.
You have associates.
I paid them very good money to be my friend.
You have corporate associates. I looked it up, Derek, MythVision LLC.
Yeah, LLC. He's got the whole corporate board. You're just gonna grab people from your corporate board to go against Dyer, or
grab
what?
people from my
no. I would love it. I would love it if you had some people, whether on my channel, Jim Bob's or Jay Dyer's, if you guys would like to come back, you know, have one of these guys come on. Let's tangle it up.
I'm always down.
Yeah.
I will see what I can do with Steven, because he is in the philosophy vein. I'm not. I'm more into the textual history, stuff like that. And so maybe we could do a round table and see if he'd be down for that. If not, then maybe having a one-on-one discussion or something. I don't know.
Sure.
We'll figure it out.
We can do it all. We do it all. But listen, thanks for coming on, man. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you had a lot of fun. And
I had fun. Got a little,
don't be mad at us because Jay Dyer's so fucking mean. It's not our fault.
He's
always been a mean bastard. There's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. Okay, he's always been that way.
Look, the way that Neil describes this, Andrew, is this. When I met him, hot-headed as fuck. Okay, let's just keep it real. Neil's, you can go off the deep end quick when you get mad. Okay, you know that. But then I'm like, why? And he's like, dude, where we're from in New York, we argue over the football teams. Where hey man, no, that's like. So
did I really say that? I don't remember saying that.
It's you've said that to me. You've told me like you're very hype about it. Well, tonight got a little fun, little hype.
Yeah.
No hard.
We weren't planning on going philosophy. We thought we'd skim the surface at least.
But when Jay saw that you were wearing a salmon colored shirt, which is the weakest color a man can wear, he decided to put on his salmon colored Hawaiian shirt, and he wanted to show you what's up, bro.
It looks salmon in the red light, but it's actually yellow. So,
but he
Jay, stop coping. That's salmon. Okay, that's salmon.
It's actually yellow. I promise.
Neil, why don't you shout out your channel and your last words for the show here, and then we'll go around. Derek, Jay, Andrew, and then finally myself.
Neil, my name is Neil from Gnostic Informant. Just look me up on YouTube. It comes right up. Started a second channel. I do shorter content too. Gnostic Informant TV, I think it's called. Whatever. They're both up there. And I'm looking forward to more of these because I'm trying to get more of an understanding of where you guys are coming from. And I think it's helping me out. So
can you wear a less stupid hat next time? Though?
I got you. All
right. Fair enough.
Derek.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. This was different. I haven't done one of these in a long time since I've had conversations like this. And my channel is, if you're interested in like history, mythology, just so you know, many Christians watch it and appreciate it. Even if they disagree with my conclusions, they appreciate it. So there's that. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Jay?
Jay Dyer, Jay's Analysis. I host the Fourth Hour of Alex Jones every Friday, and we do movie reviews, debates, philosophy, geopolitics, literature, all that on my channel.
Awesome. And do you guys have, Derek, I know Jay, do you have Twitter Spaces? That seems to be more of a new fun forum thing where people can actually attack you. Yeah. You can attack Jay on his Twitter Space.
Yeah, I open it up all the time to debate. Yeah.
Nice.
Derek, I do.
Do you do that?
I'm not. Okay. I like use it just to share YouTube videos on. I don't really get on to engage because damn, it's toxic.
Jay, not to put you on the spot, but I jumped on there. I jumped on there one time, and there was a delay or something where we couldn't hear each other talk, and you kicked me off and blocked me. But I'd appreciate it. I didn't mean any ill will towards you when I was on there last time. So if you want to unblock me, that'd be cool. I'll jump on there next time.
Okay.
That was a documented event, Andrew.
Well, okay, Neil. To be fair, I blocked you on Twitter too, but let me tell you why. Hang on. I got a good reason for this. It's because I'm way smarter than you. That's the only reason I did it. Neil.
Fair enough.
That's the only No, I'm kidding. You're not blocked on Twitter, bro. I'm just fucking with you. My name is Andrew Wilson, host of the one and only Crucible, fastest growing debate channel on the internet. You'll be able to catch more content. I'm going live with Gavin McGinnis in early February for a 2-show combo. Right after, I'm heading back to whatever for 3 shows. So it's going to be a kind of long haul in February. Hope to see all of you there. And Jim Bob, I really appreciate you putting this panel together. Derek, it was great to meet you. I basically, I blame you for the derailment of the entire panel. It's 100% your fault. I just wanted to have a couple of beers, man. You see, I had them. You screwed the whole thing. I thought
I'd be the one getting dogpiled, but somehow I ended up being him.
Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man.
Jay is the scapegoat. It's all his fault. Every bit that happened before and when he showed up. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like he could take it. I feel like he could take that.
he's
Jay
used to
Dyer
it.
is known internet wide as being the meanest man on the internet. I've been competing with him for the last year, and I'm still losing.
Not even
I'm pretty
close.
upset
Not
about
even
that.
not even close. I mean, he goes right for the jugular every time. Andrew, you're like, hey, how's it going? Where do you live? Oh, you like shit beer too? Jay's like, look, hey, I'm not trying to be mean, but here's my cleaver. It's like, but we do appreciate you guys coming on. I do want to do this more. A lot of our interactions are actually debate driven, which I'm fine with. I love debating. I love to learn about it and do more of it. But the panel thing is kind of more fun in a sense, and you can hang out and cover other things because we did cover a lot of interesting things at the front of this, right? That wasn't super contentious, right? Interesting topics and technology and whatnot. So I'm going to do this again.
Also, guys, you're only going to be able to find this. You're not going to be able to find this on the Crucible. You'll only be able to find it on Jim Bob's stream. I strongly suggest you become a member because great content like this, well, he only puts it out for a couple of days before it becomes member only. So
true. Thank you so
strongly
much for that.
suggest it. And of course, any of you who want to clip anything for any of your channels, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know. Or don't
and I'll
let me
read
know.
the
You just
super
clip it. I don't
chats.
care.
Yeah, guys, I'll stay. Once they're off, I'll go through and make sure I got all the super chats. Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks so much to every single one of you. Hope to do this again soon. Also, Derek and Neil, if there's anyone else, like you said, that might be interested in this format, no, it's not going to always be like this contentious, but it could be, and I think we could all handle it. So it'll be fun anyway. So. Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. And sorry for keeping you. And I'm glad you got some food there. So.
Little something.
All right. Yeah, a little something. All right, you guys. I'm gonna take you guys all down. Adios. Thanks, Jay, for jumping on. See you.